people? Welcome back to the channel. So as you can tell by the title, as you can tell by the card on screen, we are having a quick I say quick all the time, things go on forever, but I say a quick little discussion about Eradicator epidemic virus. This is just, I guess it's just me just kind of getting stuff up on my chest. I'm sitting here at my desk and I'm just finding myself kind of just with a lot of extra time, and I want to make sure I get a video out every single day this week because I'm trying to promote the channel. I'm trying to get to 500 subscribers. I'm trying to get it to either by the end of the week, or I'm trying to get to, I'm trying to just constantly grow. But I would love to very quickly grow to 500 subscribers, and I want to get there maybe by the end of the week, end of the year. It really doesn't matter. It depends on you guys. But I do want to promote that. I want to do some awesome giveaways for the channel. Alright, hold up. Alright, bring everything back to life. Okay. Hopefully we will remember to edit that in post. Okay, so yeah, so like I said, if you like what we do here, please feel free to like and subscribe. If not, it is all cool. Leave a comment down below if you have any kind of feelings about Eradicator, epidemic virus, and also other cards like that. Please also leave cards down below that you want me to talk about. If you want to, know my feelings about if they should be banned, if they should be even put on the list, period. I honestly have like my own kind of feelings. Maybe I'll release a video kind of talking about my own feelings about certain cards in the meta, because I do understand that certain cards need to remain in the meta. Like, we need to keep certain cards in the meta to keep things from getting a certain way. But I also do have a certain question that I want to post for everyone. That'll be for a different video. So, Eradicator epidemic virus. Let me just go ahead and put. Okay, let me just go ahead and talk about Eradicator epidemic virus. I don't like the card. I don't like the card because it doesn't, well, I guess like for the main reason why a lot of other cards are on the list, it doesn't promote healthy Yu-Gi-Oh interaction. It is very hard to interact with this card without outright negating the card effect. I do have an interaction in mind that I'm probably gonna start trying out. But in all honesty, there's certain decks that can take advantage of this interaction. Not all decks can. So I guess let me just like save my piece with this card. This card right here is not like Dimensional Shifter, to where the opponent has the opportunity to say, I'm not gonna play into that, and I'm just going to maybe do this and that to put myself in this situation, and then I'll try to play through it there. Or even Master Duel, to where Max C, to where you could choose to not take the Max C challenge, or maybe give them one card and then do this and then set some card depending on what type of deck you run. So this is not one of those cards. This is one of those cards where if you cannot chain to the cost, if you can't chain something before this card resolves, you are going to lose your spell or trap cards. And with the way that Yu-Gi-Oh works, a lot of decks are extremely spell card dependent, heavily spell card dependent, or trap card dependent. You have Labyrinth and Trap Trick. Yes, they have monsters, but for the most part, the monsters exist to either search more traps in the sense of Labyrinth, or create a little bit of pressure, but a lot of your winning comes from your ability to play the traps, search the traps, and incorporate the traps in your effect somehow. So, Eradicator epidemic virus, with that being said, really just completely without lack of a better term, just shits on everything. Okay, it also is not like skill drain. A lot of people might say, okay, well, we have skill drain for effect monsters. No. So you could technically draw the out. Yeah, yes, that sucks, but yes, that is something in Yu-Gi-Oh! You could also play the out. Some people choose not to play outs, and it's like, well, you can't complain about certain cards if you don't play outs. This card has a very few outs, and it's very situational on how you're gonna out this card. So it's like, unless you're going to not play things to out skill drain. Yes, skill drain is unfair, but you could play cards that'll out skill drain, and there are certain effects to where they will resolve in the graveyard, activate in the hand, resolve in the resolve an advantage depending on how things work, to where you could, do some type of shenanigans. Maybe you could activate a card effect on the field, which will tribute for cost, and then have it, resolve in the grave, giving you effects. There's ways to play around skill drain, especially in Modern Yu-Gi-Oh! With the graveyard kind of being a second hand. Eradicator Epidemic Virus takes that it kind of takes the skill drain does, and it negates those effects before you could even have a chance to use them. So it's kind of like Trap Dust Shoot, Trap Dust Shoot, or Point of the Red Lotus, to where you could just essentially like, okay, I'm just gonna shotgun this card to just get to, again, it doesn't give you knowledge, but depending on the spell cards that you send, you can get knowledge of the deck your opponent's running. Like, like if they're running like some type of like a certain card that has a certain searcher, and you see that searcher, or you see like a certain card, like that has like like their archetype's name in it, then you'll know what they're running. So in certain situations, it can give you some type of good information, but it essentially works the same way, but even worse, because when you're running a Pointer of the Red Lotus, or if you're running Trap Dust Shoot, you're taking away one card. You're taking away just one card, and you're getting knowledge. With this one, you're exchanging the guaranteed fact of getting knowledge for the guaranteed play of probably getting rid of 2+ cards, because most decks are built in a way to where the ratios are they're probably going to have 2+ spells in their hand. Not every deck is built like that. I understand that. Maybe someone might say, oh, I have this and this, I never ran into this card. But a lot of people that play in the competitive circuit understand that this card is everywhere, especially with decks that kind of just, I want to say cheated out, but decks that kind of easily play into this, that kind of easily get that dark monster with 2500 or more attack. There's also another thing that people don't realize is a lot of decks could simply put themselves in the position to get that monster. Like, there's decks that could just play, just play this card and just through their natural combo come out with a dark monster with 2500 or more attack. It's not that hard to have a link monster, a synchro, a fusion, anything with 2500 or more attack. That's not a hard requirement to meet anymore. So this card not only in certain decks becomes very good, but also in generically, in as long as your engine could end with a monster with 2500 or more attack, and you comfortably know that this deck runs like at least 40 to 60% spell cards, then you know that this card is going to be a blowout, and there's no way to interact with it. I should say no way. There's very little ways. You could you could have like Solemn and stuff, but a lot of the time, but this is more about them opening up with this card. If they don't open with this card, it's a different situation. They may have it later. They can, maybe they'll ruin your ruin your comeback, but to be honest, this is more, we're talking about this card being like a blowout. And this card being a blowout, I do feel like it should be banned. Like, this card should not be in the meta, especially if we're going to promote the type of Yu-Gi-Oh we're playing. Like, if you want people to play high stakes, high combo, high strategy games, then cards like this shouldn't be allowed. Like I said, like Skill Drain a little different, because you could play like back row hate plus have certain effects that either activate in the grave, combos you could access from the grave, or certain effects that will that can kind of like cheese around it. With Eradicator, there is no cheesing around it. Like there's one interaction that I've kind of thought about that might be really good. So let me go explain that interaction that I'm talking about. So essentially, a lot of the times that I notice with Eradicator is they will set the Eradicator with like an extra 2 to 4 cards. If it's like set 5 with Eradicator, that's very scary. But a lot of the times I see them setting about 2 to 3 cards. So if people were to, also this is a draw the out situation. This is that like I said, so that's also sucky. That's also very sucky at the main card. If we were to start playing Twin Twisters instead of Cosmic Cyclones, I know Cosmic Cyclone is way more useful, but playing Twin Twisters would have the ability to chain to the cost of being able to tribute the monster. Once they tribute the monster, you then chain Twin Twister to destroy their other 2 set cards. This is also assuming they have set cards. That's also another thing. Like, if they're just running this as a blowout, as their only set back row, then what I'm saying completely doesn't matter. But with all that, like I said, this is just in this scenario of them setting Eradicator plus 2, like 2 plus other back row. You could activate Twin Twister, you know, and then send one of your spell and trap cards that you know that you might want to use to recycle later, and send that to the grave as cost, so that way you could kind of like save that, you know, like save that card in the grave. That's kind of an interaction that I thought about, and in certain decks I'm like, okay, yeah, that, you know, that kind of be cool because you could recycle it with this and that. So there is a slight play around, but there's not as much play around as Skill Drain, to where if you're playing like, well, I guess the deck that come to mind is Salamangreat, to where if you have the Foxy in the graveyard, you haven't used its effect, its effect will activate and resolve in the grave, if I'm not mistaken, and you could like summon the Foxy and then destroy the Skill Drain kind of like simultaneously, to where, like, you know, the Skill Drain is destroyed, Foxy comes out, and then you know like it doesn't really like mess with anything. So there are decks that have the ability to kind of like play around stuff like Skill Drain, but Eradicator makes it to where they can't even do stuff like that, to where unless you're doing something like I said, unless you're changing to this card and then setting something, and then setting a spell card, like, and also this is like, you know, one spell card with Twin Twister or something that you would send as cost to kind of like recycle later from your graveyard. That's kind of like the only way of you being able to like try to like do something with this card. So I really do think that this card is ban worthy. Alright guys, that's it for the video. If you guys have any other cards that you know, like any other cards that you feel like are really broken and should be on the ban list, or you want me to kind of talk about like why they should or shouldn't be on the ban list, leave them down in the comments below. I'll be choosing other cards that I want to add to the series. So like, yeah, peace out guys, and I'll catch you in the next one.